What's up, everyone? Beast Mode back here with the last video of RBET Worlds or RBET Rulers. Um, so I'm playing against Mimics here. This deck here has become very popular since they have topped with Kristyasworn. I know the deck has been around for some time, but really hadn't done anything until this tournament. So I personally think that the deck is better than regular Lightsworn because of it just plays better cards. Kristya is better. It's, Broken Boss Monster. It plays Judgment Dragon. It plays Soul Impurity of Light, which is another stronger card. But it doesn't seem to brick as much just because, sure, you can say, well, it has 3 Kristya, so you can brick on that. But regular Ice One just plays the whole Wolf, and yeah, it has to play Wolf, and that card's great if you're milling it, but awful when it's in your hand, not doing anything. So, not that I'm a Ice One player, so I really can't speak too much on it, but just from what I can tell and see, just seems like a better deck in my opinion. So anyway, this will be top 8. At this point, after this video, comment below what you guys want to see. But I also have a couple. I have RBT4, which I didn't review, which is it's older now at this point, which was the first time I played zombies. That was a zombie build with enemy controller in it, and I topped with that. And then I have RBET2, which was my first tournament in Edison format since 2010, with quick draw that I topped with. So if you guys want to see those videos or see those matches, I can get into those, but I will tell you that they are pretty old at this point, and I was not nearly as good as I am now. Back then, it was like March of 2022, RBET2, that tournament took place in. So, also, I know the streaming. Some of you guys are interested in the streaming. I had gotten a new monitor, and it's not working with my computer for whatever reason. Probably because it's prehistoric. It's new to me, but so I definitely got to get a new monitor, and I do have a new mic for this video here, so we'll see how that sounds. I'm still messing around with the settings and trying to figure this out. So streaming will be coming, and I have to try to make a new figure out the new content because there's not a tournament until February 4th. So I will cover that tournament, my game specifically. So we'll get into this match now, and let's see what we could have done better. All right. So I do get to go first. Hand is okay, right? Not bad. We got Gores to save us. We got some piece of monster removal here, and so mainly at this point we're probably just going to set Plague. So setting Plague here really insulates us against like a Raikou set. Only thing that could potentially hurt this would be Aaron, but we have Bottomless. So against Lightsworn, what's their typical opener? Aaron, Lila, or set Raikou typically. Sometimes they could summon the Jane, but so decent opening hand. Going first makes this hand better. If we went second, we'd be in trouble here. So Solar Recharge opening, and then I see a Soul Impurity Light, so I'm a little bit confused with what's going on here. But still playing typical Lightsworn cards, the whole Hamster and Raikou. So my guess is this is probably just a Raikou. So I would guess that we're just going to slam Lachias. Yep. All right, so Kaius goes down here. So we're in a pretty good position already. We hit another hamster, so this is crazy. He's playing 2 hamsters in a Kristyasworn deck. So we're just going to attack here, hoping no Gores. All right. Oh, that was that. Nothing to really talk about yet. Pretty standard. So he hits a charge. A 3rd hamster. Wow, I didn't realize that. That's crazy. This card really is difficult for zombies to deal with. Seems to be my biggest issue. If you don't get to go first and they can set up the hamster Raikou play into a Kaius, specifically like Vayu, I know I've talked about it before, it's brutal. That's why Quick Draw was so good, because Quick Draw does that all day. I literally played 3 hamsters in my Quick Draw build, and with 3 Raikou, and I think it was 2 or 3 Kaius, and that's pretty much how I topped the event. I literally, if you go first a lot of the time and you get to do that, you really can just outpace people. So Arcus, again, I'm not overly familiar with. I saw it last round, or 2 rounds ago when I played. Maybe that was first round. First round I played Lightsworn, and I actually see it. I know this one here can create some issues because you can't target. So to me, that reads he summons the Arcus here, and that reads to me that he probably just has Honest. So obviously I see Pyramid Turtle here, and my eyes got big because if he doesn't, even if he has Honest, it doesn't matter. Ill Blood, again, love that card, but it's awful at 6 to your hand. So we're gonna summon the turtle here and try to go for the crash. If he Honest, we don't care because even if he Honest, he goes up to 24. We can still crash with the Kaias here if we decide to do that. So he does, which is fine. We get a search. At this point, we already have Plague in the graveyard. Illblood stuck in our hand, or Illblood probably would be the target here. So I think we're just going to grab probably Mizuki. Could also grab Spirit Reaper. That's another option. Problem is, do you want to leave Spirit Reaper in attack against Lightsworn? That can be scary because they can drop like 3 guys in one turn and really cause issues. So I think either or is fine. You know, you just have to decide how much risk you want to take with the Spirit Reaper. Also, Mizuki here, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 Lightsworn names. So Mizuki also insulates us against a Judgment Dragon, better than just Spirit Reaper. So either's fine. So we just Suicide here. We don't want to leave the Arcus on the board in case he tries to do like a Celestia play. So I think it's fine to do that. We already got the advantage out of the Caius. So we're just going to attack here again. We're really putting damage down. So, and then we pass. So he does have the Judgment Dragon, which is fine because we have Bottomless and we lose Mizuki, which we could care less about. Again, we could have taken the shot at picking out a card out of his hand and hitting the Judgment Dragon, but I think he just drew it. So pay, we chain the Bottomless. 2 Judgment Dragon, actually. That's crazy. So potentially here, like Spirit Reaper in attack mode, if he was brave enough, he could have just like, I obviously Bottomless, but you could just attack and almost kill me through even if Spirit Reaper was on the board. So especially where I have Gore. So I think I do think Mizuki is probably better there. So fortunately we have Gores, so we're not gonna like die. But we're taking a lot of damage. And so hold on a second, I'm confused here. He did not attack properly? No. So attack with JD first, maybe just to do more damage. I think that's probably what it was because likely I'm just going to drop the Gores on the 1800 Jane. So that's actually proper attacking order actually in this situation, I believe. So we lose Gores here, but we're okay because there's that 19. So in this situation here, most of you probably can already tell we likely have game, right? Because if Zombie Master summons and we can pitch the Ill Blood to grab a Plague here, we can go into Brio. So I think we're probably fine. He hits Plague too. So we summon Zombie Master here. So one card that could stop us is probably Bottomless, Torrential, but we still have Mizuki follow up for the Ill Blood. So we're going to call priority here because we can win that way anyway. Yeah, we use Prior. We're going to take his Plague. That way, if that's a Crow, it doesn't stop us. That's a smart thing. Keep that, always keep that in your mind there when you're playing. If they have a Plague, you usually want to use their stuff before you use yours because then it makes their Crow dead. So yeah, I could have done like, there's no need to get cute with like a Doom Kaiser play and all that. You know, we're just going to, if your response to this, it doesn't matter because we have the follow-up play. Solemn would be a problem, but you know, I don't see many Solemns inside of Kristyasworn. So, and he's only got 1 card in his hand, so he can't Herald. So we just pitch both, and that's going to be game. So game 1, you know, I went first. I kind of had the whole Kai's play. Ended up working out. I'm not too familiar with the deck at this point. I know that he's playing something that's not regular Lightsworn. I haven't seen a Kristier yet, but so game 2, I think I talked about this earlier. At Worlds, I did not expect there to be much Lightsworn because it's one of those decks where if you're on fire, you probably would just win with it, but a lot of people consider it very luck-based, and a lot of quote-unquote pro players don't want to base their whole tournament run on milling well, so they may play a deck that involves a little bit more skill. I'm not saying that, you know, Lightsworn are completely brain dead, but I'm saying that a lot of things have to go your way to be milling correctly and all that, and I don't know. I wouldn't feel confident having my whole tournament rely on me just milling good cards that day. So this deck is a little different, of course, because it plays the whole Kristyasworn, so you can win from a few different points of the game. You can drop Kristyasworn, you can drop just beat people down with the whole Soul Impurity Light. You can use the whole the tuner there, the Herald, to negate effects. So you can play a little bit more control. So it's different, but same idea. You got to mill well. So this hand is awful. This card again is not very good against Lightsworn. Like I didn't have a whole lot in the sideboard. I don't think I sideboarded Light and no, I did not side Light and Prison Mirrors in this tournament because I just didn't expect it. And it turns out Fairies won the whole event. So like I guess I just put too much thought into people not playing the deck. And I did play one round one. Luckily I got the win. So right now we can't really play. So summons a Lila here, which obviously makes our hand not very good at all because we can't do anything here. So we're going to set a spell trap that's going to get destroyed. What do we draw here? We draw MSC. So this hand is awful, right? I'm looking at this hand. They're already milling. They have, what, 2 fairies. They're setting the graveyard up, and now any card I set's going to lose here. So I kind of think of a mind game here, right? So we can do a couple things. We can set everything and just let them pick at one of the back row and hope they don't hit maybe a torrential or something. Or we could set just torrential and say, you're not going to break this back row because you think I'm setting a bluff. Maybe they think I'm setting a dust shoot or something I can activate with, maybe a Book of Moon. So maybe I just set torrential and they don't destroy it thinking that. Or I could set MST here. Maybe they set a back row in the end phase and they don't break with Lila and I can MST, or they do break with Lila and this is the worst card in my hand against Lightsworn. I think I side decked out heavy, I believe, in this match because typically they might side deck in Royal Oppression or Royal Decree, but you want to hit the Beckoning in the end phase typically. So this card's a little bit more reactive than heavy, but you don't want a lot of magic and trap removal against Lightsworn or the Kristyasworn deck. So this is probably the most dead card in my hand. So I'm really hoping that if I set this, I just switch the Lila and hit it. So let's see. So again, I could have said everything here. That's also an argument. But then you're risking them just switching and hitting a bottomless and then, or hitting Solemn and dropping Judgment Dragon, and then you just lose everything. So my hand's poor. You know, I'm playing a little unorthodox here, a little crazy, I guess. So smart play on my opponent. Could care less. It's like, that card's not real and doesn't kill it. So, and then sets on top of that. So sets a Raikou here. So he does have Royal Oppression. See that? So I draw another card that's not good. So at this point, I'm reading Raikou, and now I'm just falling behind here. The board's just getting set up, and regardless, even if I set Torrential last turn, it doesn't do anything because he's not killing it, and I don't have a real playable card. So I think I'm going to set Plague here, and what else do we do here? So we set Plague, and I'm still hoping that that they just switch this thing still, maybe thinking that it could be a Torrential at this point or something. I'm not sure, but I'm okay with him just attacking. Maybe he flips the Raikou and again kills it. That's kind of my thought here. I don't want to give them the better cards because my hand is so poor as it is. Like, these cards are so valuable to me right now. I just don't want them to be getting plucked away by Raikous and Lilas. So he picks the monster again, doesn't hit the back row, which is, again, smart. That's the second Royal Oppression that's gone now, so this MST is never going to be played. And then he summons into this back row. So if I had played the mind game in the beginning and just set the Torrential there, I would have a Torrential board, and I would get, what, +1 here with it. So this is kind of brave on my opponent's part. He was like, I don't care about your back row, and just disregarded it. So I guess first turn was like we had to make a decision on how we wanted to play this hand because it was not very good. And we can play the whole 200 IQ and set the Torrential here and knowing that they're not going to kill it. But a lot of people would just switch the Lila just for insurance. And he didn't. So that's a heads up play by my opponent. So I got outplayed here, actually. So just milling again at this point. It doesn't matter. So then I draw a Diva. Yeah, so, I could have set anything here. I don't think it makes much difference. If I Torrential, sure, I save some damage here, but drawing a Diva with not a playable card. And the graveyard is 100% stacked at this point. How many fairies? 1, 2, 3, 4 fairies, so Krithia can hit the board anytime. So I'm guessing at this point, I'm just bleeding life. I need to just start setting stuff. So I'm a Diva. So I think we're just going to kill the Raikou here. We set everything. So now we've been forced into this position. He's never going to kill this one here. My opponent's just not playing in anything. Very smart. Slams the Judgment Dragon here. So obviously I don't have a choice but to Solemn, because if I don't, he just blows up the whole board and I die. So I have to Solemn that. Now he hits the Torrential. I was hoping maybe just hit, if he hits anything else, it's probably better, but hits the he had 25% chance of hitting it, hits that, well, less than that, 33% chance. He was never hitting the MST. Summons another Lila, then we got a Bottomless. Just brutal. This deck plays 3 Lila, so just picking away at all my back rows. And then a Soul Impurity Light's hitting the board now. This is crazy. Like, see how explosive this deck is? So I don't have a choice. I have to respond to this, so we have to send him back to the top of the deck, which he's going to mill anyway. And then we draw an Oblood. So, you know, we couldn't really play this game. If you look at the monsters I drew, I had a Plague Spreader, a DD Crow, which was useless, and a Diva. I drew some back rows, but he summoned a Lila turn 1, and, you know, the most I would have been able to do is maybe Torrential the board, but it's one of those games where even looking at what happened, if I played every card perfectly and, you know, we did the whole 200 IQ and set Torrential first, I don't think I win the game anyway. Definitely would have been different, but so this game's over at this point. We got a stack for Plague just for defense, but it's a waste of time. I'm just trying to see some more cards here, so there it is. So that game was awful. You know, I drew poorly. I, you know, made a decision to see if my opponent would just play into the MST. It was the worst card in my hand, and they didn't, so that was smart. So we're going into game 3, going first, which is good. Obviously, going first is always good. So we actually have some cards we can play, which is good. And I do have a Soul Release in the sideboard. I must have put that in last minute for Frog specifically. It's really not. I go back and forth on this card, but the Frog matchup in this deck is abysmal. Killing Frog Monarchs is almost impossible with this deck because you need them to play into it. I know I talked about this before, and this is really not what the video is about, but this deck plays so many recruiters that you set them, and then they just Monarch and Riser them away, and you don't go anywhere. Like, you can't do anything. People believe that this deck is a really good matchup against Frogs. It's not. You can book a life, sure, you can remove their Treeborn Frog, but in order for you to book a life, the card has to get to the graveyard. And they don't often do that, and so that's number 1. Number 2, I guess zombies they do have a decent out to dupe block with the Brio, but they also have to deal with you know, a lot of those Frog decks play Battle Fader, so you can't even OTK. But you know, I'm not going to talk too much about Frogs here. I can make another video talking about it. But the deck, this is not a good matchup. Zombie's not a good matchup against Frogs. So I did put Soul Release in there for the Frog player. I was specifically, you know, in case I played Rognak, who made Worlds, you know, I'd have something for it. But so we just set here because we're setting up for a potential Diva play. So we set the Goblin Zombie, and we have to stop Aaron here. So charge. He does search Aaron. Fine. So we have to Bottomless this. So the other argument is I could just summon it. That's fine too. You know, that could have been better. Could have just summoned and not Bottomless, but then he can summon Lila and kill it. And then, you know, if I'm going to summon this, I might as well summon Mr. Tomato at that point. At least that's a little bit better than insulates me for the following turn. Then I can Deep Sea Diva play, but so I'm okay with this. I don't flip the Goblin Zombie. I don't want to mill any more stuff for him. So I feel pretty good here. This is gone. I don't need the Aaron. I don't have to worry about that. All right, so Krystia is gone. 1, 2, 3, 4 fairies. So Krystia is live. So this turn here is, I spent some time thinking about this turn. So this turn is where this cost me the game here. Okay. So my thought is probably has some type of Royal Oppression down there. What does he have? Call and Beckoning. So I'm looking at the graveyard now, and he has on 1 one Lightsworn or two Lightsworn names, and I'm debating if I want to just slam the slow release right here and just hit the Honest, the Kristya, and the fairies essentially. Um, and I don't believe I do it this turn. I'm like, let me see one more draw, maybe play slow here, and then maybe potentially make a power play next turn, hoping that they don't have an impression. I really sat here for quite some time to think about this, and we attack into the hamster anyway. So another play I was thinking of was, just setting Sang in here, but I figured that if this thing gets JD, the Necrogarner, at least I have a piece of defense in the graveyard. So let's see what happens here. So his hand's JD. Yeah. So if you can probably spot what's about to happen here. Flips Raikou, he's milling. And he hits double Soul Imperial Light and Honest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 fairies in the graveyard. And so I'm like, okay, I'm probably sitting okay still. This card right here is broken in this deck. And you'll watch what happens here. So he manipulates his whole graveyard right now. So he grabs back double Soul Impurity Light, a Kristya, and a JD, I'm guessing. Oh no, the Herald. Yeah. Synchros here. For Brio, calls back a Thunder King. 2, 3, 4 fairies perfectly. Grabs back Honest. Yeah, this is crazy. That's game. So that was how explosive that deck was. This was what, third turn of the game, or their second turn or something maybe. And not so releasing. Obviously, looking at it now and seeing what happened was not the right play. I should have probably just slammed the soul release. I'm not sure. I definitely could have stopped a lot of that from happening, but the Raikou mill would have happened either way, so they would have some access to some of these cards. But that was an explosive turn. So I waited. I was waiting on the soul release. I'm not entirely sure, thinking about it, what I was waiting for. I think I was waiting for more Lightsworn names maybe. And that's the problem with this card, because it's a -1, so I hate playing it because it doesn't do anything, right? You're just playing it and you're trying to manipulate the graveyard. But if they have ways of putting other cards in there, then you just threw a card to the graveyard for nothing. If I had played it last turn, I definitely don't die this turn. So that's a misplay on my part. There's this internal clock. I know everybody kind of has it when they're playing, those games where you're like draw, go, draw, set, go. You're kind of going back and forth with your opponent, and then you're thinking to yourself, like, if this happens one more turn, I'm going to win. And then all of a sudden your opponent just makes a big play out of nowhere, because they have that gut instinct. They're feeling that same. They're thinking the same way. Like, if I don't make a play here, I'm probably going to lose. So it crossed my mind last turn. I was really thinking about it. I remember the play specifically. And I just chose to see if I could see one more card, and it cost me the game. So, plus I felt pretty confident with the Mirror Force, but I figured I'd just get JD'd anyway, and I'd have the Necrogarden in the graveyard. I didn't expect a Bryonic play, but so the deck is really cool. The Kristyasworn deck. I've seen so much of it now. I've been playing just randoms on Dueling Book, and everybody's playing the deck. Since seeing it and playing against it now, I have a better idea of what's going on. This is the first time I've actually seen the deck kind of in action. So definitely a good deck. There's going to be a lot more of it. So this is it for Worlds. Saturday will be the next video. Got to figure out what I want to do. Leave me some comments and some suggestions. And I definitely plan on making a video probably next week or so about the upcoming Deck Devastator tournament and what I think is going to be played. And we can get into that a little bit more, and maybe talk about the tier list and what decks you should expect if you're playing in that tournament, maybe some side deck choices. So we'll see. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.